Number 2, here we go. With so many requests for money, could we go back to number 1? I mean, could we, yeah, okay, here we go. With so many requests for money, struggling family members, the homeless, regular giving at church, very special offerings, nonprofits, how do I biblically discern where to give my very limited resources? That is a very relevant question to today's world. As the church has declined in America, the nonprofit sector has boomed. It's just been a phenomenon in our culture. So as church, not just the United Methodist Church, but the Christian church in the United States of America, as it has declined, what happened is nonprofits have soared. And nonprofits have a very distinct advantage over the church, in that when a nonprofit asks you for their money, they are usually asking for a very specific thing. We are St. Jude's Hospital. We heal kids who cannot pay the bill. We are a Covenant House homeless agency for, I guess, just young adults. When you give here financially, it will go to improve the lives and make life possible for kids such as this from ages 17 to 21. Just as examples, a nonprofit makes a very specific request, and so it's very powerful. In the church, confessionally, we are somewhat at a disadvantage because our mission is to love whoever walks in the door. And I don't know about you, but if you've looked at around you, it's a rather diverse lot, isn't it? We're in ministry to everybody. From cradle to grave to hopefully beyond the grave is what we are preparing people for. So one of the things I think you need to know as a donor is that the church is a very different entity from other nonprofits that you hear from, in that our mission is far bigger. And I would go on to say is that especially for those faith-based nonprofits, they would not exist were it not for the church. It is Jesus Christ's message of love God and love neighbor that is the foundation of what they do. So there has to be a great partnership between faith-based nonprofits and the church. So having said that, where do we give? This is what Deborah and I do. We tithe to our local church, First Methodist Houston. We give 10% off the top of what we give, and then we do beyond that. And the beyond that will be to sometimes ministries in the church. Sometimes it'll be to nonprofits that we like. But it's above and beyond. And what I'll tell you about tithing is that every tither I have ever known who gives 10%, a real 10%, always gives more. And the reason is because generosity at that point has become a way of life. And so I'm going to give to many things, and I'm going to give as the Holy Spirit calls me to give. That's another answer, I think, to this question. But I'm also going to do my part for the local church because I understand how crucial it is that church be the root of every community. In the sense that were the church to go away and these nonprofits exist, I think nonprofits would evaporate very quickly. Because again, they operate on an ethic of love God and love your neighbor, which is the heart of the Christian gospel, which hopefully is also the heart of the church. So it takes both the faith-based nonprofit and the church. But I also think when it comes to being a donor and giving, our first love is to our local church, and then our next step is to whatever comes, or the Holy Spirit gives us beyond. I'm on the board of Houston Christian High School. That's one of the other duties as assigned as senior pastor of First Methodist Houston. Okay. But I've been over the last year, gone to several of the board meetings. Houston Christian High School is a great school. It's got several hundred students. I love it. It provides an amazing education and also spiritual development for high school kids. Fantastic. But one of the things I love about it most is as we sit around the board table and make decisions about budgets and fundraising and things like that, their head fundraiser will say, first thing, 10% needs to go to your local church because that's the heartbeat of this city. And then whatever you do for Houston Christian High School comes beyond that. And I've always been impressed by the character that answer requires, in that they are saying, no, give to your church first, and then consider Houston Christian. And I think every nonprofit should also, especially on the faith-based side, should consider a similar message. Because, again, it's the church that has a mission like none other. It's the church that provides the ethic for all the good that we do. It's the church that is the heartbeat spiritually of so many of the good works that get done through our city. And so when it comes to giving, I'd say church comes first. The only thing I'll add to that, though, again, is the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit has to be a part of our stewardship. The Holy Spirit has to be a part of our financial planning, because it's not just about dollars and cents. It's about where we want the love of God in a way to go. And when we let the Holy Spirit shape that, I believe good things happen. All right. Well, we've talked about assurance. We've talked about tithing, and how I'd love for something easier to come next.